Justice League Dark number 13, written by Jeff Lemire, art by Mikkel Janin. So, this last issue, 12, we left off in Constantine and Black Orchid were going to look for the books of magic. They were attacked by a giant fire troll named Black Boris, and Zatanna and Deadman were going to Peru to attack Felix Faust's cult thing, and they were attacked by a giant forest thing called like Blackbriar or something like that. Anyway, so we pick up with Constantine and Black Orchid, who are currently fighting against that, and Black Orchid apparently uses some level of magic in order to restrain Black Boris. And Constantine's like, well, someone's got some explaining to do. And she's just like, shut up and do something to get rid of him. And he reaches into his coat and pulls out a tiny little fairy prison, which apparently works equally well on trolls. And it like absorbs in Black Boris, and they just toss him into the swamp and say like, all right, well, he's not a problem anymore. So Constantine and Black Orchid put it together that, all right, this was probably just a wild goose chase. The books were never here to begin with, which means that this was all just a trap for not only, or it was probably a way to get us out of the way so that Zatanna and Deadman would be more in a trap. So we got to go help them. So they hop back into the House of Mystery and starts moving their way over. But not before Constantine points out, like, based off your shape-shifting ability and your ability to manipulate the like roots that you use to trap Black Boris there, do you have a connection to both the red and the green, as Red and Animal Man and Swamp Thing? And she's like, that's classified. So then we cut over to the Amazon jungle, where Deadman and Zatanna are fighting Blackbriar Thorn. I was very close there. So, giant wood wizard guy. And Deadman just like, I'm just going to possess him. So he makes his way inside of Blackbriar, and he's got to do like a whole trapeze routine in order to dodge all the vines and branches and stuff in order to get down to the soul behind Blackbriar. And he takes him, possesses him, and then shrinks down in just normal man-sized. And when he does that, he's like, I did it. So they look around and they see what seems to be the House of Mystery arriving. But it's not. It's the House of Secrets, which is, of course, run by Nick Necro. The Zero issue was required reading. So Nick Necro steps up and he's like, hey, Zatanna, it's me. You already know Dr. Mist. We're here for the books of magic. So cut over to London, where Madame Xanadu is still just walking out of Timothy, I think it's Green. Timothy Green sounds right. I don't know. No, that's a horrible movie. Anyway, Timothy's house. And as he of course gave up his magic, and he is of no help anymore. But as she's walking away, the house literally explodes with magic. And it turns out Faust showed up, and he's like, oh, I need to take this boy because he's crucial to getting the books of magic, and you're not going to stop me. And Xander's like, the hell I won't. And she blasts Faust with magic, grabs Timothy, and they teleport their way out. Timothy's very upset, though, because his dad was left behind. So that's a thing. So anyway, back to the jungles of Peru. Deadman's about to try to attack Nick, and Nick just uses some crazy magic to essentially possess Deadman. And he's like, how's that feel? Bet you don't like that anymore. Zatanna tries throwing off some backwards magic at Nick, who uses even stronger backward magic at her. And just like, I can do whatever I want. I can make Deadman possess you and then make you come with me, but that's not what I want. I want you to come with me willingly. And she's like, I can't believe I ever loved you. And he's like, love me? You betrayed me. You literally left me. And it's like, I betrayed you. You were obsessed with the books of magic, and you were willing to were willing to sacrifice us to get it. Like, cut the crap, Nick. And it's like, all right, whatever. You sent me down to hell. I think we're even in that regard. So anyway, at that point, Constantine shows up. Black Orchid manages to land a blow on Nick, and Nick's like, all right, well, you're out of your ornament, Black Orchid. And he uses some sort of ability in that he's basically able to shapeshift into Black Orchid using her own magic, and throws her away. He turns back into Nick, and Constantine and Nick start getting into like a little bit of a magic punching fight. And Constantine's just like, hey, look, whatever this is about you and me. And he's like, no, it's not. This is about you, me, Zatanna, and the books. Like, I want you to die. I want Zatanna to join me as I have the books. That's how this is going to go. And I'm going to kill you in front of her. So, oh, and also you stole my coat, which is a major thing. So at that point, he's got Constantine on the ropes, and Zatanna steps up and just like, oh, stop. I'll go with you. Just don't hurt him anymore. And he's like, oh, I'm going to continue to hurt him, but it can wait until after I have the books at least. So Zatanna goes up to Constantine, gives him a kiss, and says like, don't let him get the books. So she goes with him into the House of Secrets. And then as soon as they're inside and the house starts to like teleport away, Constantine frees Deadman from whatever spell he was under, gets Black Orchid up, and they run into the House of Mystery. And as they get inside, they have to like, he's meditating to make the house chase after the other house. And Constantine tells his demon butler, like, all right, now's the time. We got to release the gargoyles. So they let out this huge army of gargoyles on the House of Secrets. And Nick tells Dr. Mist to basically magic them away. So Dr. Mist steps up and he's like, I don't like listening to Nick Necro, but I do want to save my wife. So I'll do it. So he blasts all the gargoyles away, and in the process also blasts the House of Mysteries out of whatever magical stream they were in. And we see it appear in the middle of what seems to be a desert. And it just crashes down in the desert and essentially completely breaks with a earth-shattering kaboom. And yeah, that's how it goes. Next issue is the finale, which is in the annual number 1. So I like it. I definitely do enjoy it. I think it's a solid entry into the series. I think that the Timothy part kind of feels a little tacked on, but I get that, you know, how do you show this magic part with a boy who literally gave up his magic? It's not the most interesting part, but I get that it has to be there probably for whatever happens next issue or maybe even next arc. We'll see. A lot of this was basically just the explanation issue of, okay, we were introduced to Nick Necro in the 0 issue. We know everybody's plans and whatnot. The only one that we didn't know going into this was that Nick Necro was the leader, which once you read the 0 issue was pretty easy to figure out. But having gotten into that, now it's Nick's time to basically just monologue and rant and say, here's why I'm doing this and here's how I'm doing it and blah, blah, blah. So in that regard, it's an issue that has to happen. It did still have some good action, some good reveals to it. But overall, the primary focus was just this very, very monologue-y fight between Nick and the rest of Justice League Dark. So do I dislike it? No, I think it's a solid enough issue, but it is also just kind of there because it has to be there. So overall, I give it a 7.5, and that extra 0.5 is because Mikel Janen's art is just fantastic. I really cannot fault anything in regards to that. It is beautiful to look at throughout. So yeah, no, it's a solid issue. It's just kind of the part where we needed to have all this said before we got to the finale, and now we're going into that. So we'll see how it wraps up, and I don't doubt it won't be great.